When I was 10 years old, I heard a man die and I didn't lift a finger to help. I'm not proud of it, but I was just a scared kid. My parents left me alone a lot. It wasn't that they didn't care, they just had other priorities. Still, I liked the freedom. As long as the house looked untouched when they got back, I could do whatever I wanted. What they didn't know couldn't get me in trouble. It happened in early February. My parents were out for their usual Anniversary-Valentine's dinner. It was snowing and I wanted to go outside, but I was afraid I'd lock myself out and freeze before anyone found me. Around 10 p.m., Mom called to say they'd be out all night. I'd stayed alone overnight before, so I told her I'd lock up and go to bed soon. To her, that meant 10 minutes. To me, it meant whenever my horror movie marathon ended. I loved horror even though it gave me nightmares. We had a cable box that got all the premium channels, so there was always something spooky to watch. Around midnight, I was getting sleepy until I heard shouting outside. I looked out the window. A man sprinted across the street, yelling like his life depended on it. My horror-fueled imagination went wild: serial killers, monsters, demons. He was panicked, banging on doors, screaming, "Help! Somebody help me, please!" I watched, frozen, as porch lights flicked off one by one. No one wanted to get involved. I couldn't look away. What had terrified him that badly? Then he ran up to our door. He pounded on it, yelling. I froze. "They're coming. Please, let me in." I dragged a chair over and looked through the peephole. He was maybe in his 20s. Blue hoodie, gloves, knit cap, clearly freezing. "Please," he begged, voice shaking. "Just let me in." I felt awful, but I couldn't. My parents didn't even let me have friends over when they weren't home. "I can't help you, mister," I said. I figured he'd leave if he knew I was just a kid. But he didn't. He begged harder. "Please, kid, I won't hurt you. I just need to be inside. My dad says I'm not allowed. I'm sorry." He leaned his back against the door, blocking the peephole. "Oh God," he whispered. I ran to the window. As I got there, he started screaming again, wild, frantic. He slammed on the door, trying to force it open. But I'd locked it like Mom said. "Please, let me in." Then I saw them. 3 dark shapes darted across the street. Fast. Blurry. Unreal. They moved with purpose toward our house. I yanked the curtains shut and dropped to the floor, shaking. His screams changed. No longer words, just raw, inhuman screeching, then pounding, splattering. Cracks, snaps, ripping fabric or flesh. And beneath it all, that awful sound, chewing. When it finally stopped, another sound took its place. A high, sharp whine like steam from a kettle, only meaner. It made my ears ring and my stomach twist. Then, silence. I stayed curled beneath the window for what felt like forever. When I finally moved, I ran upstairs, locked my door, and buried myself under the covers. Even sleep didn't save me. My dreams twisted those sounds into monsters worse than anything on screen. I woke to sirens and knocking. Police cars and a black SUV were outside. I didn't go downstairs. I was scared they'd think it was my fault. The knocking stopped, but the cops stayed until my parents got home. I heard frantic voices, then Mom raced upstairs, pounding on my door. I hesitated, but opened it. She hugged me like I'd barely survived a crash. When she asked if I'd heard anything, I lied. I said I'd been asleep. I don't know why, guilt, fear. But I kept lying. I told the same story to every adult. Later, Dad came in. Suits and officers were going door to door. Looking for witnesses, I guessed. Rumors spread at school. Some said a body was torn apart. Others claimed there was no body, just blood. Too much blood for one person. Most of it was probably fake. My parents didn't leave me alone after that. I missed the freedom, but I liked feeling protected. Eventually, things relaxed. Life moved on. Until mid-December. They went to a Christmas party. Asked if I'd be okay. I said yes, I didn't want a babysitter. Mom called at 10. I said I was fine. Promised to go to bed soon. Of course, I didn't mean it. I planned to stay up until I saw headlights. After sliding down the stairs on a plastic shield like Captain America, I found an R-rated movie to watch. Around midnight, just as Jason was chasing someone through the woods, there was a knock at the door. "Let me in." The voice froze me. Memories surged up like bile, the men begging, the blood on the porch, the stains that never washed away. Dad repainted the house, but the driveway still had faint, rusty smears. "Come on, kid. Let me in." I cranked the TV volume. "Help me, save me, let me in." It wasn't quite shouting, just growing louder, like it was synced with the movie. I peeked out. The street was empty. But the voice kept coming. "Just let me in. I won't hurt you. I swear." I climbed up to the peephole. Nothing. "You can save me, kid. You know that, right?" Still no one. The voice was inches away, but no one was there. I told myself it was in my head. Too much sugar. Too many horror movies. But it wouldn't stop. Eventually, I gave up. Turned off the TV. Went to bed. Turned on the fan. Still heard him. This time, from outside my second-floor window. I buried my head under pillows. Didn't help. "Don't fall asleep, kid. Don't leave me out here, let me in." Only when my parents pulled into the driveway did the voice finally stop. And that's how it went, 4 years. Always around midnight. Always when I was alone. I begged my parents not to leave me alone. Even asked for a babysitter. That worked until I turned 12. I tried sleepovers, distractions, anything. But the voice always returned. College helped for a bit. Roommates, late-night study groups, packed schedules. But sometimes I came back to an empty dorm. And the knocking would start again. I lived with roommates after school. But they moved on. One in with a girlfriend. Another to a new state. Eventually, I was alone again. I tried new roommates, but desperation scared people off. The cycle resumed. Midnight. The voice. The pleading. I tried everything, hotels, noise machines, blasting music. Nothing worked. Sometimes I screamed back. And then, I snapped. Same night. Same voice. Peephole, empty. Hands shaking, I gripped the doorknob. And opened it. What stood outside wasn't a man anymore. Half a face. One arm. Gut spilling from a torn belly. Legs twisted. But he stood. He smiled with what was left of his mouth. "Thanks, man," he rasped. "You're a lifesaver." We stared. Then he collapsed, folding in on himself with sickening cracks. Smoke hissed from his skin as he melted into the concrete. All that remained was a black, charred stain. I dragged the welcome mat to the trash, numb. Was it over? I laughed. Loud. Maybe from relief. Maybe madness. Then I heard them. Footsteps. Dozens. Charging across the street. I spun around. 3 monstrous, dog-like creatures barreled toward me. Matted fur. Dripping jaws. Glowing orange eyes. I screamed and dove inside, slamming the door as they hit it. My back slammed into the wood. I fumbled with the lock. My hands were slick with sweat. Outside, snarls, claws scraping concrete. And something worse like meat in a blender. But they didn't hit the door again. Not right away. I peeked through the peephole. They were pacing hulking beasts, all muscle and rage. I sat on the couch with the biggest knife I owned. It wouldn't help. But holding it made me feel less helpless, like a teddy bear. Eventually, I passed out. When I woke, the knife was on the floor. Silence. I looked outside. They were gone. I stayed on edge all day. Every sound made me flinch. But nothing happened. That night, I let myself hope maybe it was finally over. I went out to dinner. Felt normal again. But on the drive home, As shadows stretched, I heard barking, checked the mirror. They were back. 3 of them sprinting after my car. I floored it. Tires squealed. I tore up the road, praying no one was outside. Skidded into the driveway. Bolted to the door, keys shaking. I slammed it shut just as they hit it. And now, this is my life. I don't go out after dark, I don't date, I don't see friends. I can't risk being caught away from the door at night. It's not the life I wanted, but it's the only one I have. Sometimes I wonder what if I'd opened the door that first time. Would it have started sooner? I'll never know. But if there's one thing you take from this, remember. You don't know me. I've never told you who I am. But if I ever knock on your door, no matter how desperate I sound, don't answer, don't speak, don't open the door. And whatever you do, don't let me in.